Hey, what's up, everybody? Good to be back with you again. We have game two here of this doubleheader between the Giants and the Braves back in 1949. We'll just get started. And it's going to be Nils Potter on the mound here for the Braves, and he delivers a strike in there to Willard Marshall and a ball 1-1 the count on Marshall. There's a ground ball over to the right side through the hole past Torgerson and over to Holmes for a base hit. Nils Potter was not exactly the first choice for a starting pitcher, but you got to figure out what you're going to do, and we put him in there. He looks like he's got pretty good fatigue ratings. There's a strike in there to Gordon with Marshall on first base. And there's one inside just under Gordon's hands. 1-1 the count now. And that one's in the dirt. 2-1. That's right on Gordon. And here comes the next pitch. That's foul back. 2-2 is the count. And that one is an attempt to try to backdoor him. Doesn't quite work. It's a full count now. And Potter needs that control. Gordon fouls off a tough pitch. Count's still full. And he loses him. There's the walk. Only 34 walks in real life, but Diamond Mine Baseball is not always like real life, and you got to throw strikes. There's a foul ball to Whitey Lockman, and he takes one low. 1-1 the count now on Whitey. And there's one fouled off. 1-2 now the count. There's a curveball outside, and it's 2-2. And there's one foul back now to play, still 2-2. And there's strike three. Got him looking, and there's this first out here of this ball game. And here comes Bobby Thompson, and he's a dangerous hitter, as always, hitting in fourth position, and that he pops one over to Russell in center field, not deep enough to advance the runner. 2 outs, and here's Johnny Mize. Johnny Mize takes a screwball off the plate for a ball, and there's one wide, another ball, and there's a strike pouring in there. 2-1 the count. That one's fouled off. 2-2 now the count. Another ball fouled off, and there's one high, full count now. And Mize just goes with that one up the hard and up the middle. That'll score one, and we're going to throw this one to third, see if we can catch Sid Gordon. And unfortunately, we're not able to. And it's a bad throw by Russell, and that allows a second run to score. And that brings up Mickey Livingston now, 2-0 Giants. And Livingston takes a strike. 0-1 the count on him now. And there's a ball 1-1 rather is the count. And there's one low, 2-1 now on Livingston. There's a slider low, ball 3-1 the count now. And he swings and misses at one, full count. And then he swings and misses again, and that gets him. 2 runs though for the Giants across in the first inning. And here comes Marv Rickard, bottom of the first, against Clint Hartung. Clint Hartung, it was a question about who the Giants were going to start, and he's the one who drew the short straw. And Rickard hits a fly ball over to Bobby Thompson in center field in a 1-1 pitch. And we are up to Jim Russell here in the lineup. 1 out here, bottom of the first. 2-0 Giants. And Russell gets a little pop fly over there to the very shallow part of left center. We had about 3 or 4 Giants converge. Nobody can get to that one in time, though. And that's a little blue base hit there for Russell that brings up Alvin Dark. And the question is, do we run or not? They think we're going to run it, so we don't. And there's a little pop-up over to Lork, the second baseman, for the second out. Maybe we should have run. I don't know. Eddie Stanky now, and he takes a strike. 0-1 the pitch on him. Now it's 1-1. And there's one that misses. 2-1 now. We're going to start this runner. And there's the runner going to second base. Had the ball stolen after Stanky swings and misses. And that throw from Livingston went over to center field. Russell able to advance to third base. 2-2 now the count, though, and there's a line pitch and an RBI single there for Stanky as he gets the base hit and drives in the run. Now, there was talk on Twitter, of course, Twitter, you know what Twitter's like. There was talk on Twitter just the other day about RBIs and whether they're just opportunistic or not, and those who've played the game will tell you that you don't want to throw the stat away completely because you do have to drive the runner in. Eddie Stanky there with an example of that, how you do have to drive the runner in because he could very well have struck out on that 2-2 pitch. Here's Earl Torgerson, fouls one off. 0-2 the count now on Torgerson, and there's a pitch inside for a ball. 1-2 the count. Now it's 2-2 on him. And there's one popped up, but still 2-2 as that one finds the seats. There's a fly ball over there to right field, and it's Marshall who's got it for the out. We go to the top of the second inning. Buddy Kerr up there now takes a ball. 1-0 now the count. There's a screwball for a strike. 1-1 the count now. Change up in there for a strike. It's 1-2. There's one wide, and the count now 2-2. And there's one foul back, still 2-2. And there's one inside, and it misses, and it's a full count again. Potter, a lot of full counts for him on this one. And he gets the ground ball over to Stanky, throws to first for the out, but a lot of full counts so far in this game for Potter. And there's a ball to Jack Lork, and they get induce him rather to swing and hit one over to Russell in center field for the second out. And here is Clint Hartung. He takes 2 balls quickly. And there's a ground ball to Stanky, and he throws out Hartung, but still worried about Potter, who keeps getting behind these hitters. Connie Ryan starts it off in the bottom of the second, hitting with a fly ball over to Thompson in center field, makes the play, 1 away, and there's a strike to Tommy Holmes. And a ball, 1-1 now the count on Holmes, and there's a fastball inside and 2 high, 2-1, and there's another pitch inside, 3-1, now it's a full count. And Holmes is able to pick up the walk, his 10th walk earned this season, and that brings up Bill Salkeld. Salkeld, I think, catched. I think he caught in the game before as well, but this is because it's Macy who needs to rest a little bit. And it's amazing how I remember all these player names without even looking it up. Salkeld hits a little foul ball over to Livingston for the second out, and here is Nels Potter, and he takes a strike. And grounds 1 foul. 0-2 the count on him now. They throw to first base. Doesn't make sense. We're not doing anything with Holmes. And there's a little comebacker over to Harting at the mound. Throws over to first for the out. We go to the top of the third. And here is Willard Marshall again, hitting 407. And it's 0-2 is the count now on Marshall. And he just checks his swing. Still 0-2. And there's a ball. 1-2 now the count. He takes inside. Ball 2, 2-2. Now it's a full count. Look at this. Potter, half the time, he's getting behind hitters at the beginning of the count. The other half, he gets ahead of them and throws 3 straight balls. And I know you're trying to pitch so that, you're trying to induce the hitter to swing at bad pitches, but he's not doing a particularly good job of it. And there is a infield single that hits off of the second base bag, and nobody can get to that one as that one bounces way up in the air. Marshall with the hit, 2 for 2 today, hitting very well. Sid Gordon up there now, and man, these Giants, what an offense. And there is a hit over, a ground ball over to Stanky, and I have experienced this game freezing. That's really interesting. I wonder what's going on. Hold on for a second. All right, I'm here again. You haven't missed anything at all. Apologies for that. VirtualBox has been doing this a little bit lately. Just so you know, I think the setting I have here in VirtualBox, I'll actually take a quick look and see if I can even get to the network preferences. The computer that I'm using is 40 gigs of RAM and a hard drive, a processor that should be fast enough to run virtual machines. Having said that, this isn't exactly like the fastest processor of all time. Might be part of the problem. So this is, as you may know from before, this is I'm trying to see if I can show these settings. I'm not certain that I'm going to be able to find them. This is a MacBook, a 2019 MacBook. This is an iMac 2019 that was originally running Mac OS until I got us out of that junk and decided instead to run, Pop OS, which has been much more stable than the Mac OS has been. I have 16 gigs of RAM devoted to this Windows 10 VirtualBox, as well as 6 of the 12 available CPUs. And acceleration and everything is turned on. It should really be fast enough for me to do this. I gave it 128 megs of video memory, which is probably too much for games like this. That might actually be part of the problem. I'm a little bit confused as to why I've had so many problems with this thing freezing. I have read that there are some issues with VirtualBox doing this from time to time, but I'm not really seeing a whole lot of good alternatives for this, and I don't really want to have to take everything and put it over to another computer, at least at this point, because I already have the Skatersoft project working. I don't want to have to go through and reauthorize every little thing. Now, ideally, in some point in time in the future, when we can save up enough money, we want to build a machine that's dedicated, uses nothing but AMD, has a much faster processor, and even more RAM than this, that we can use to just create sort of a Linux super machine. But of course, that's not going to happen today. Anyway, much ado about nothing here. To bring you back up to speed, this was a poor play by Eddie Stanky at second base, and the Giants now have no outs, runners on first and second here in the top of the third, and they're looking to score again. And here's Whitey Lockman trying to bunt. I don't know why he would try to do that. And he looks to bunt again, takes that one, 1-1 now the count. And there's another pitch off the plate by Potter, and it's a 2-1 count. He's not pitching horribly as that one's fouled back. About half of his pitches, a little bit over rather, have been strikes, but he's getting behind these hitters too often. Lockman swings and misses that ball, and down he goes. And that's the first out here in the top of the third. Bobby Thompson up there now takes a ball, and another one high. 2-0 the count now, and there's a strike to him. It's 2-1. And takes another strike, 2-2, as he was trying to make the one look like a ball. Fouls one off, still 2-2. and that's hit a long way but foul. Thompson with all that power fouls another one back. And there's a ground ball over to the right side over to Stanky, who actually makes the play this time that moves both runners up, although with 2 outs. And here's Johnny Mize, who had that run-scoring single in the first inning. Takes a ball high and then fouls one back, 1-1 the count. And ball, again, too high, 2-1 the count now. And there's one way high, 3-1. Potter having some problems with the control. And there's a ground ball over to Torgerson at first base, and he does it himself. We go to the bottom of the third. Marv Rickard up there now, and he takes a ball. And there's one up in the zone that he chases for a strike, 1-1 the pitch. And there's a little ground ball over to Hartung. Hartung barehands it, throws to first base. The throw is too high. Mize has to leap for it and then gets back onto the bag and gets his man anyway. And I know you think this is a great play by Mize at first base. I mean, that is possible. I think it's a really bad job by Rickard trying to get down the line. And, I mean, I've said this before. I'll say it again that, for these Boston Braves, they are the defending National League champions, but they're sure not playing like that here in this replay. I feel like every game I play with them, they have something wrong happen. Jim Russell here now takes a strike, 0-1 the count on him, and there's one off the outside corner for another strike, 0-2. And 1-2 now is the pitch. Russell chases a fastball, just barely able to foul that one back. And there's a ground ball right over to Mize, who lets that one hit off of his chest just like a goaltender, then grabs it again and runs over to first base. And that's the second out. And here's Al Dark, and he takes a ball. 1-0 the count on Dark, and 1-1 as he takes a strike. Now it's 2-1 to Dark. And there's a fastball low and outside for another ball, ball 3. And Dark, let's see if he's going to take this one. He does, and he gets the walk, and that brings up Eddie Stanky. One runner on first base, and 2 outs here at bottom of the third inning, and there's a ball to Eddie. Another fastball inside, ball 2. And there's one grounded wide of first base and into the hole. Dark is able to go all the way over to third base with his speed. That brings up Earl Torgerson here in another clutch situation. Let's see if the Braves can get one in. And Torgerson gets a hit over the head of Mize at first base. That will score 1. We'll send Stanky home. And he is safe as that throw to the plate is a little bit slow. And that is a big, big base hit in a very big clutch situation. The score now is 3-2 Braves. And what was I just saying a second ago? I was just saying that, you can talk all you want about RBIs being a stat that's very closely tied to having a lot of luck and having some good fortune. And it is true, but you do have to drive the runners in. I mean, you have to get the base hit, or you have to hit the ball far enough or do whatever it is to get him in. You can have the bases loaded and not score anybody. That's not a good thing. Here's Connie Ryan now, and he takes a fastball in the inside corner, 0-1 the count on him, and there's one inside, too far inside, 1-1. That's off the plate, 2-1 now the count on Ryan. And that one backs him way off the plate, 3-1 now, and Hartung having a hard time with his control. There's another little ground ball over to Mize at first base, and he's able to make the play and stop it from going into the outfield, but cannot get to the bag before Ryan does, and that's another infield. They're calling that an error or a base hit. They're calling that an error as that was off of Mize's glove. It seems a little bit harsh to me, but whatever. That's the second error of the game for the Giants. And Tommy Holmes then hits a fly ball over to Thompson in center field, and you can forget about the whole thing. But the Braves do get 2 runs, 3-2 now. Braves going to the top of the 4th inning. Mickey Livingston up there, and he hits one over to, was that right center field? And Russell, instead of going to catch the ball, decides to go the long way, and that ball, which was catchable, ends up turning into a double for Livingston. And I think this is going to go into my awful play catalog. You'll see more of this here in the future as we get to points in the blog where we want to update the blog and talk about some of these fun play-by-plays that we have. That's an example of a really, really poor play by Russell in center field. Buddy Kerr up there takes 2 quick strikes, 0-2 now the count on him. Then he grounds one over to Dark at shortstop, and he's thrown out at first, and he can't even advance the runner, right? There is something to be said about advancing the runner or not and driving the runner in. That's kind of the theme today. Jack Lork now, and he hits a base hit down the right field line, and that will score the runner, and that's the way that you drive him in. You drive him in by getting a base hit, right? And, I mean, if you're not going to get a base hit, at least hit a ground ball over to the right side instead of the left side of the infield. Now, we can talk all day long about whether it's actually possible to hit the ball to one side of the infield or not. That's been a controversy in baseball that is much older than you or I. I mean, that's older than my great-grandfather, right? That stuff has been talked about for well over a century. But I will say that there is something to be said for the guy who can get the base hit when the guy's in scoring position. Full tie ball game now, rather. 3-3 is the score. About to say a full count for the score. 1-1 is the count on Hartung. 3-3 game now, and there's only one out here, and Lork is able to steal second base standing, as that's a really poor throw from Salkeld. And now Hartung, the pitcher, has a runner in scoring position. And there's a swing and a miss. Potter's able to get him 2 outs now, and here comes Willard Marshall. Marshall takes a strike, 0-1 the count, and that one's inside 1-1. And Marshall swings over the top of that one, 1-2 now. There's a bouncing ball over to Stanky, and he actually makes the play this time, and that ends the inning. Bill Salkeld now leads this off in the bottom of the 4th inning. Here's one inside for a ball, 1-0 the count, and he swings, goes after high fastball, barely fouls it off, 1-1. There's a fastball high, 2-1 now the count, and there's one around the shoulders again, 3-1. And he gets the walk as he draws that base on balls as that pitch is also high, and there's a runner on first base, and here comes Nels Potter. We're going to bunt. Let's see what happens with this bunt. They're looking for the bunt, and there's a strike on Potter. And there's a foul ball again, 0-2 the count. And we're going to bunt again, and that one goes across the chalk line, and that's a strikeout. Might as well strike out that way instead of striking out the other way. Here's Marv Rickard now, and he hits one over to Marshall in right field, 2 away. Jim Russell now, and there's a ball to him, 1-0 the count. 2-0 now, takes another ball. And there's one in there for a strike, 2-1 now. And there's a line drive over to the first base side, to the first base side, and Mize jumps up and grabs that one for the out. We go to the top of the 5th inning. Hard to say your words when you're saying the names of the players at the same time. Sid Gordon up there now takes a strike and hits one up to Stanky at second base for a pop-up, and that's the first out here, top of the 5th. Whitey Lockman now, and he hits a ground ball over to Dark at short, throws to first for the out, 2 away. Bobby Thompson now, and he'll take one high. And another one wide, 2-0 now the count, and there's a fat one in there for a strike, 2-1 now the count on Thompson, and 3-1 as that one misses. There's a chopper over to third base, and Ryan grabs it, throws to first for the out, and that does it. We go to the bottom of the 5th, Alvin Dark now, and he takes a ball. There's ball 2 on him, 2-0 the count, that's high and tight for ball 3. There's one ground into the hole in the left side, and for a base hit, and that means that the Braves have something going here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Eddie Stanky up there now, let's send Dark. Let's see if he can steal this one. And there's a ball inside, and I think they're going to throw to first here. That's low and inside, so 2-0 is the count now. We're going to try to send him here. And he misses with a fastball, 3-0, and we're going to have him take this pitch, and Stanky takes ball 4, and he was looking all the way for that one. And that brings up Earl Torgeson here in a very interesting situation. The question is, do we swing away? Do we bunt? What do we do? Let's swing away. And there's one driven into the alley in right field, and that's over the head of Thompson, right center field it must be. And we're going to send Stanky as well, as we think Thompson is probably out of position. And Stanky scores as well in the double by Torgeson, and that's going to be enough for that pitcher. And boy, that was another one of these clutch base hits and a very, very important part of this game, and that makes the score 5-3 Braves. And that will bring up Connie Ryan now with the runner on second base, bottom of the 5th inning and nobody out. Already 2 in for the Braves. And what was I saying earlier on about these Braves and how they don't seem to be able to make it work? Everything seems to go wrong for them. Well, that seems to be going a little bit right here so far in this one. Connie Ryan up there now. And he hits one over to first base. Mai is able to block that one, flips over to Berman, Hank Berman, the relief pitcher. Torgeson, however, is able to go over to third base. You see, hit over to the right side. You get that runner over to third. And now there are 2 very good chances to score him. Here's Tommy Holmes, and after him, Salkeld. There's a ball on to Holmes, and there's one inside for another ball. Ball 2. The infield is in, and I'm thinking, do I really want to try a squeeze play here? I don't think so. They need to throw a strike here first. There's one inside, 3-0 the count on Holmes. We're going to take this pitch, and there's one on the back, black for a strike. We'll take the next one. And there's a strike, a late called strike, and I thought we had ball 4 there. And there's a topper right back to the mound for Berman. We're going to let Torgeson stay at third base, and Berman looks him back to the bag and then throws over to first base for the out. With that 5-3 lead, we don't have to take chances like that. Bill Salkeld up there now. There's a strike to him, 0-1 the count. Salkeld takes another strike, hitting 0-59. He's going to strike out here, and he does. And we go to the top of the 6th inning. So much for that chance. So getting that runner over to third base didn't make a difference here this time, as the count to Johnny Mize is 1-1. and he hits one over to Russell in center field. He runs it down for the out, one away. And Livingston up there now just gets a piece of that one for a strike, and there's one out of play, 0-2, and there's a little pop up over to Dark in shortstop for the out, 2 away, and here comes Buddy Kerr, and he takes a strike. And he hits one over to Dark, and he throws over to first for the out, and that does it. And we go to the bottom of the 6th. Here's Nils Potter to start this one off, and we still have him in this ball game. Pops one up over to left field. Lockman grabs it for the first out. Marv Rickard now. And there is a ball to Rickard. 1-0 the count. Now another ball, 2-0. 2-1 to him now, and he's not happy about that one, but it's off the corner of the plate, and there's a double for Rickard, and that brings up Jim Russell. With a runner on second base and one out, here comes Jim Russell hitting .327 this season so far, hitting well. He takes a strike, 1 for 3 in this ball game. And there is a big league wild pitch as that one ends up bouncing past the catcher, going back to the backstop. And behind, really, I should say, the hitter as well. And that sounds like another little piece of play-by-play to add to the collection. So now there's a runner on third base with one out here in the bottom of the 6th inning. And let's see what happens with this one as I stick this play-by-play into the good old folder. We have a lot of play-by-play of particularly bad plays, and those are always fun to look through. We're going to swing away again with Russell. It's 1-2 now, the count on him, and it's 2-2 as Behrman couldn't get him to chase. There's a ball low, full count now, and that one's hit to right field and deep, and Marshall able to get that one, and not quite is too deep for him to throw out the runner at third base, and now it's a 6-3 ball game with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Boy, what a contrast this is to that game that the Giants just totally scorched the Braves in the first game of this doubleheader. There's a ground ball over to Berman. He throws to first base for the out, and here we are in the top of the 7th inning, and Jack Lork is the first hitter. There's a pitch to him, a ball from Potter, and another one high for a ball, 2-0 the count. That one's looped out to center field, and who is that losing it in the sun? That's going to be the center fielder losing it in the sun, and we've had a lot of very poor plays here. It's the second baseman, I suppose, Stanky, who loses it in the sun, and if that is Eddie Stanky with another bad play in this game, I'm wondering, do I take out the second baseman or do I take out the pitcher, right? What do I do? Stanky having a very, very poor game. We're going to leave the pitcher Potter in here for a second, but I have an eye on him. He's over 100 pitches, which in Diamond Mine, as you know, is kind of the magic point. Hoffman with the 1-0 count hits that one into right field for a base hit. We're going to throw to third base and try to cut it off, and instead that ends up going past his man and allows the runner to score, and that allows Hoffman to go over to second base. And that was a really, really poor play. Second error of the ball game for the Braves, and this is the way that it's been for the Braves. Boston should be able to sort of cruise through the rest of this one, and instead there's a runner on second base with nobody out in the top of the 7th inning, and this game is starting to look like it could get close again, and that's a problem because this is a game really that the Braves should be running away with. Wrong name. There we go. This is a game really the Boston should be running away with that 6-3 lead, and the Giants just keep coming back, and so it looks like we're going to have to make a change, and we might as well make it now. Stanky's going to be leading off the next inning. I mean, we could do something here with perhaps putting Sibby Sisti in. I don't know why my double clicking is not working for me. Here we go. Sibby Sisti at second base might be a better solution, but the question is then, do we have somebody else to go in at short? And I mean, can Bob Elliott play there? No, he can only really play at third. The question then is, can Connie Ryan? He can play at short. So this is what we're going to do. Ryan is going to go over. He's going to become the shortstop, and we're going to put in. Let's see if I do this right. I guess I could have just gone in. No, we want to put, yeah, that's right. We want to put Sisti in here at second base, and that'll take Dark out of the game, and we'll put the pitcher into that spot. I guess we didn't have to do that all that way, right? We could have just put the new second baseman in, but this will sort of make things a little bit fun, and we'll shake it up a little bit. Trying to figure out who to put in. I think we're going to put Johnny Antonelli in as the relief pitcher here. Oh, there's no fielder at third base. Well, that of course, that's what I was thinking about. This shows me not paying much attention here, right? Because we have to put somebody in for the pitcher spot, and that will be Bob Elliott. There you go. Complicated change here in the top of the seventh inning, and here comes Willard Marshall. And if you're trying to keep score at home, I don't know what you should do. 2-0 now the count on Marshall, and there's a strike to him. 2-1 now the count. And that's a fly ball over to Rickard and Ryan. And in the left side, and it's Ryan going back to get that pop-up. And there's one out here, top of the seventh inning. Still runner on second base. And here's Sid Gordon takes a ball and a strike, 1-1 the count. And there's one wide, 2-1 now the count. And there's a comebacker to Antonelli. He looks the runner back to second, throws over to first for the out. Nobody can get that runner moved over, and that's what we've been talking about today. There's a little pop fly over to the left side, and that one's just fouled by Whitey Lockman. 1-1 the count on him now, and then he hits a little pop-up over to Salkeld, the catcher, and that does it. We go to the bottom of the seventh inning. Here is Sibby Sisti, who just came into this game. He takes a ball, 1-0 the count, and there's ball two on him, 2-0 now. And there's a bouncer between first and second base for a base hit for Sisti, and that's exactly what we want to see. And here comes Earl Torgerson. Let's do some hit and run. 2 for 3 in this game for Torgerson. And boy, he gets a little ground ball over to Kerr, the shortstop, who really had to hurry on that one. Torgerson almost beats that out, and Sisti is able to move up to second base because of the hit and run being on, and that avoids the double play. And here comes Connie Ryan. There's one inside on Ryan, 1-0 the count, and there's one low past Livingston. That's another wild pitch. This time it's Andy Hansen making the wild pitch. Some of those I really have to credit to Livingston. In fact, when I'm looking down here at his player profile as a catcher, he has that poor rating. And just so you know, if you're curious, this is what it looks like here. You have Cooper's the only other catcher, and he's tired. And the worry that I have because of this computer manager is that they're going to use Cooper as a pinch hitter, which means he'll be tired for the next game, and that's how the Giants are going to lose. 2-1 now the count on Ryan. Now it's 3-1. Ryan's still up there, and he takes ball 4. Now there's runners on first and third, but of course that does open up the possibility of the double play. So we'll hit and run here with Tommy Holmes. And there's a drive to the right field gap, and that rolls to the wall. That will score both. And there goes that runaway beer truck trying for 3. And we love those descriptions of these players. He must be a older player, and he is 32 years old. That's where that one comes from. 8-4 now Braves, and here's Bill Salkeld. We'll have him hit away. We won't try to bunch or do anything crazy. I don't know why they have the infield in when they're down by 4. There's a 1-1 count now as Salkeld as he takes a ball, and it's 2-1 on him now. And there's one fouled straight back, 2-2 the count. And there's a pitch that he takes for a full count now, full count on him, and he fouls one off. Livingston can't hold on, and he swings and misses on that one, and there's 2 away, and here comes Bob Elliott. And there's a ball to Elliott, 1-0 the count, and there's a strike to him. It's 1-1, and 2-1 is Andy Hansen misses poorly with that, 2-2 now. And now the count is full after that ball, and Hansen ends up walking Elliott, and that brings up Marv Rickard. And these Braves are going to show that they have bats too. Rickard fouls one back, 0-1 the count on him, and there's one high, 1-1. And there's a high drive, and that leaves the park for a 3-run home run. Andy Hansen gives up that home run. Rickard is just absolutely hitting out of this planet. He's hitting .348 this season. That's home run number 3. Slugging percentage of .591. 11-4 now Braves, and this was a close game once upon a time, and it's not close anymore, I'll tell you that. And here comes Jim Russell, and he takes a ball, and then finally hits ground ball over to Lork, and he throws over, second baseman rather, throws over to first base for the out, and that's the way that one works. And I tell you, man, what an inning that was for Boston, and all of that criticism that I had, at least for the moment, is going to go away. But do you remember one of those tricks about baseball, if you're not that familiar with the sport, is that you have to get outs. Outs is what matters, not time, and Bobby Thompson shows that that's true by lining a base hit right off the bat to center field. And here comes Johnny Mize. Giants are not done yet. It's not over till it's over. There's a strike to Mize, and there's one lined up the middle, and there's runners on first and second, just like that. 11-4 Braves, but you don't know what's going to happen. Livingston up there now, and there's a ball to him, and there's a strike now, 1-1 the count. Breaking ball in there for a strike is 1-2, and Livingston takes a strike 3 called, not having a good season. And what happens? Walker Cooper comes up as a pinch hitter, so the computer doesn't know that he's tired. Ground ball over to Ryan, throws to first base for the out. Now the runners move up, and there's runners on second and third now, and here's Jack Lork, takes a strike. A curveball and another curveball there for a ball, 1-1. Lork swings and misses a one that was wide, 1-2 now the count, and that one is in, but Salkeld able to stop it because he's got that excellent rating, 2-2 now, and there's one pop back but out of play. That one's high for ball 3, full count now. And there's a foul ball that just gets out of play, and there's another one popped up out of play, full count still. Lork fouls one back, still a full count. And there's one ripped to left field, and Rickard unable to get to that one on time, and that scores 1. It's 11-5. No need to panic yet, 11-5, but this game's not even close to being close. Rigney now takes a strike, and then a ball, 1-1 now the count. Rigney, the pinch hitter, hitting .375, 2-1 the count on him, 2-2 now. Breaking ball outside, he takes that for a ball. We have yet another full count in this one, and there's a fastball high, and so Antonelli also can't find the plate in this one. We're going to keep him out there, but if he gives up a home run, this is going to be a much closer game than you thought. 2-0 the count on Willard Marshall, 2-1. Marshall's been awesome. And there's a ground ball over to shortstop, and that's a error on Ryan, and that scores 1, and everybody moves up a station. And here comes Sid Gordon, another player who's been playing very, very well. Ball 1 to Gordon as that one's inside, and that's off the plate for another ball, 2-0 the count. There's a ground ball over to Sisti at second base. He makes the play, throws to first for the out, and that does it. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Antonelli's spot is up, and we're going to put in P. Reeser here since we always like to use Reeser in as a pinch hitter. Former Dodger comes up there, takes a strike, 0-1 the count on Reeser, and that one's high, 1-1. And there's a base hit over third base, and that's why we like Pete Reeser, because he can get that base hit. Sibby Sisti, who's 1-for-1, comes up, will hit and run, and that one's fouled back, and we'll let them throw to first a couple times. And there's one low and away for not a ball, but for a strike, 0-2 the count. Now we'll hit and run again. There's one smashed down the third base line, and Reeser scores easily as Sisti gets a double off of that. 2 for 2 today for Sisti, who came in only, I was going to say, in like the 6th, or maybe it was the 7th. 12-6 now, Braves, and they're repaying the favor from game 1 of this doubleheader. Here's Earl Torgeson, and takes 2 balls, 2-0 now the count on him. Chops one foul, it's 2-1. And there's one high, 3-1 the count. There's a strike in there, full count now on him again. And there's one foul back. A little comebacker over to Ray Pote, who's the relief pitcher, and he throws to first for the out. Sisti has to stay put, and here comes Connie Ryan. There's a strike in there in the inside corner, and there's a ball to him, 1-1 the count. And there's one outside. It's 2-1 now. There's a ground ball over to shortstop, and Rigney grabs it, throws over to first for the out, 2-away, and here's Tommy Holmes. And there is a strike to Holmes, and there's one low and away, 1-1 now. And there's a line drive over to Rigney, the shortstop, who spears that one for the out. And it's time to make some changes. So let's see, what can Reeser do? Reeser can play third base, left field, or center field, not right field, and that's kind of what we need here. But we can work with that. Here's a right fielder that we can put in. And let's see how we want to do this. So we're going to take Holmes out. I want to leave Salkeld in. We want to leave Reeser in as best as we can. He wants to play probably left field, so we'll take Rickard out, and we'll put in this guy into right field. Your new position will be left field, and we're going to put the pitcher here into the home spot. But before we do that, we're going to put in, who is this, Lakeman here as the first baseman, and we'll put in Constanter as the center fielder as well. Here we go, and that will leave just Phil Macy on the bench. If anything weird happens, we'll have to use pitchers. I don't think anything weird's going to happen in this one. We'll put Bobby Hogue in here, and he doesn't necessarily even have to throw that many strikes for us, just has to get 3 outs. It doesn't matter how beautiful or ugly it is, as we have a 6-run lead here in the top of the 9th. There was a ball to Whitey Lockman, and a strike, 1-1 the count on him, and he just gets a piece on that one, fouls it back 1-2 now, and there's a hit over to right field, and Thompson's got it for the out. That one seemed to hang up there for a while. 1 away, and here comes Bobby Thompson, and he takes a strike, 0-1 the count on him, and fouls that one off. That was a wasted pitch, 0-2. Slider hangs up there, 1-2 now the count, and there's a line drive to center field. Constanter, though, able to go get it, 2 away, and here comes Johnny Mize, and he takes a strike, 0-1 the pitch. And there's one hit over to right field. Thompson's got it for the out. And there's your ball game. Well, really not too much of a ball game here for the Giants. They looked so good in the first game of this doubleheader and just ran out of steam in this one. And the Braves bats have finally come alive, and that's going to make things interesting, of course, in the National League pennant race. I sure hope that you enjoyed that one, and we'll have another game for you tomorrow. See you then. Bye.